Welcome back to another video from ClearConfig. In this video I'm going to walk you through creating your own bootable USB flash drive. So let's get started. Now for the purposes of this video I'm going to be showing you how to create a Windows 7 installation bootable USB flash drive. And to do that we have to make sure that we have all the Windows 7 folders and files copied to a specific directory. So here I have it on the desktop. I'll just open that up to show you there's all the boot information and all the files needed to run the setup for Windows 7 installation. Before we get started, we're going to make sure that our USB drive is plugged into one of our USB ports. If you have a USB 3.0 port, I recommend you plug it into that port. Otherwise, the 2.0 will work. It's just a little bit longer. The data transfer isn't as fast. We're going to start by going to the taskbar here and clicking on it and typing in cmd.exe. Now we're going to right click that and run as administrator with elevated privileges. Now we're going to type in Diskpart and hit enter. Now that Diskpart is loaded, we're going to first type in list disk. For my purposes, I have a 32 gig USB flash drive plugged in right now, and it's going to be listed as the 28 gigabyte drive. Type in select disk 1 and hit enter. And then we're going to list part, and there's the primary partition for partition 1 of the selected drive. So we're going to go to select part 1, and now that is the selected partition. We're going to delete part, and that's going to delete the primary partition of the drive. Successfully deleted the selected partition. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a partition. Now just to show you, there are all sorts of different partitions that we can create here because we want it to be our boot drive. So we're going to type in create part primary. It will be successful in creating this specified partition. Then we're going to format the partition to get it ready. Now there's a number of ways that you can do this. I'm going to actually list the help here for you so that you can see all the different commands that you can run in formatting your partition. And you'll see examples here at the bottom of how you can format it. At the top here, it'll give you a list of all the different commands that you can actually run, and then the definition for each one. Now, for some people, I actually recommend that you use the FAT32 file system as opposed to the NTFS file system, as NTFS will not always be listed as a bootable drive. And for that, you would just type in FAT32 instead of NTFS. In my case, I'm going to use the NTFS. I've used it before and it's worked in the past. But for other bootable drives, other than Windows 7 installation, I recommend that you use FAT32. File system, or FS, equals NTFS space label equals quotations and then the name of the drive. Windows in my case. Then we're going to do it quickly. Now this is important. When you're formatting a drive, the bigger the drive is, the longer the formatting will take. So if you type in quick, you're going to get a quick format on the partition. So it's only going to take a minute. So now if we go back to Windows Explorer and we look at our D drive, or whatever drive letter you have assigned to your flash drive, you'll notice that the folder is now empty. Now we just have to mark the drive as being active, and that's just a simple process of making sure that the USB drive starts on startup. So we're just going to type in active and hit enter, and there we go. So now we're going to go over to our Windows 7 folder where all the files and folders are stored for our Windows setup, and we're going to copy those into our empty directory on our USB flash drive. And that's just going to take a few minutes. So while that's copying, I just want to show you a couple of other options in creating a flash drive. For example, Universal USB Installer and UNetbootin. Now both of these utilities are extremely small, but what they do is they actually allow you to create a bootable USB pen drive for installing Linux operating systems, which is beyond the scope of this video. My next video I will showcase these in use. Now that our files are finished copying over, we're going to restart the computer and boot into the BIOS in order to check the boot sequence and make sure that our USB drive is being recognized as the primary boot device. Now, once you've restarted your computer, you're going to have a very short time in order to use the hotkey to enter the BIOS. Make sure to look it up depending on what manufacturer the computer is made by or motherboard is made by before you restart. Otherwise, the computer is going to laugh at you as it reloads Windows. So I'm going to give you two demonstrations here of what it's like to try and enter the BIOS on two separate computers. One is a laptop and has an older BIOS, and one is a desktop and has a newer BIOS with a graphics user interface. So here we go. On the laptop, when you hit the delete key, you're going to get a start menu option like this. If you push the F9, it'll just list the boot devices and you'll be able to select the USB device. If you press F10, you're going to get into the BIOS. So now that we're in the BIOS, we're just going to use the arrow keys and push to the side. When we get to system configuration, we're going to go down to boot options and press enter. Then we're going to go down the list until we see boot order and press enter again. Now this is the exact list of what is set to boot first. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that your USB diskette or USB hard drive is at the very top of the boot order. Now on the right side there, you're going to notice that if you push the F5 or the F6 keys on my particular BIOS for this laptop, it's going to change the position of which device boots first. Now on an ASUS motherboard enabled desktop computer, you can press delete or F2 to enter the UEFI BIOS settings. This is going to bring you to a graphics user interface. Now on the graphics user interface, you'll notice at the bottom right corner of the screen that there is a boot menu option. You're going to click that boot menu option, you're going to select the generic flash disk and press enter. And as soon as you do that, the Windows 7 loading screen will appear. Don't forget to like my videos and subscribe for more awesome ClearConfig videos.